There's a mineral sitting on the bottom shelf of your grocery store right now that the multi-billion-dollar detergent industry would really prefer you keep walking past. It costs about $5. A box lasts most households 3 months. It doesn't come in a plastic bottle that's 90% water. It doesn't need a synthetic fragrance to convince you something got clean. It softens hard water, makes the detergent you already own work harder than it's currently working, and breaks down fabric odor at the source instead of burying it under a fake scent. It's been sitting on an EPA registration for laundry use since before most of the people watching this were born. And it has almost nothing to do with anything currently sitting in your laundry room. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why an industry worth $80 billion a year needed you to forget this thing exists. Before we get into it, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and subscribe if you want more of these. The mineral is called borax, and the story of how it disappeared from the laundry conversation starts about 200 million years ago, which is longer ago than almost anything else we talk about on this channel. Borax is sodium borate, a naturally occurring compound that forms when ancient lakes packed with dissolved minerals slowly evaporate over unthinkable stretches of time. The largest deposit in the United States sits in the Mojave Desert, in a stretch of California appropriately named Boron, where a prehistoric lake dried out and left behind a seam of white crystalline ore that runs hundreds of feet deep. This isn't something engineered in a lab by a chemist trying to hit a quarterly target. It was forming in a dry lake bed millions of years before a human being ever picked it up. Here's where it actually gets interesting, though, because the way borax works at a chemical level is something no detergent commercial has ever bothered explaining to you. When borax dissolves in water, it raises the pH. It shifts your wash water from neutral, around a 7, up into the alkaline range, somewhere around 8 or 9. That sounds like a minor detail. It isn't. Protein-based stains, sweat, blood, body oil, food residue become far more chemically willing to let go of fabric fibers in an alkaline environment than they ever do in plain neutral water. You're not scrubbing harder. You're changing the actual chemistry of the water that's doing the cleaning, and the stain simply can't hold on the way it could a minute earlier. The second mechanism is hard water, and this is the one quietly sabotaging laundry in the majority of American households without anyone realizing it. Most tap water in the US carries dissolved calcium and magnesium. Those minerals grab onto the surfactants in your detergent, the actual working molecules, before they ever reach your clothes. You could be using a premium detergent and only getting a fraction of what you paid for because your own water supply neutralized half of it before the cycle even started. Borax binds to those calcium and magnesium ions and pulls them out of the water entirely. The water practically becomes soft. The detergent you already own starts performing at full strength instead of half strength. You don't need a different product. You need to stop letting your tap water quietly defeat the one you've already got. And then there's odor, which is where this mineral really separates itself from everything else on the shelf. The smell that creeps back into gym clothes, towels, and anything that's been worn hard comes from bacterial residue and oxidized body oils trapped deep inside the fiber. Scented detergent covers that smell with a stronger smell. It doesn't touch the source. Borax's alkaline environment physically breaks those odor compounds apart and converts them into something water-soluble that rinses straight out and doesn't come back the next time the fabric gets warm or damp. That's the actual difference between masking a smell and ending it. One of those is what's sitting in your laundry room right now. The other is a $5 box of mineral powder that's been doing this since before your grandparents owned a washing machine. So if it's this effective, why isn't it the first thing every laundry guide on the internet recommends? The history answers that question directly. Borax has been sold under the 20 Mule Team name since the late 1800s, a nod to the actual mule teams that hauled the raw ore out of the desert before rail lines reached the mines. For most of the 20th century, it wasn't a niche product. It was standard practice. Households added it to every load the same way they added soap. Hospitals used it to process all of their linens. Military laundry facilities relied on it through both world wars. It wasn't a trick. It was just how laundry got done. That changed in the decades after World War II, when the major consumer goods companies started consolidating the entire laundry category around proprietary all-in-one detergent formulas. Think about what that shift actually meant from a business standpoint. A branded detergent in a branded bottle, reformulated every couple of years, sold on a 2-week replenishment cycle, is a recurring revenue machine. A raw mineral mined out of a desert with no patent and no brand exclusivity, selling for $5 and lasting 3 months, is the exact opposite of that. Nobody can corner the market on a substance anyone can mine, package, and sell at cost. There's no competitive moat in a rock. So as the big detergent brands build out their advertising budgets and lock down shelf space, Borax got quietly pushed to the bottom shelf and rebranded as an old-fashioned laundry booster instead of what it actually is, which is one of the most effective laundry ingredients available at any price point. Here's the detail that really sticks with me. Front-loading high-efficiency machines, the ones most households now own, use significantly less water per cycle than older top-loaders did. Less water means detergent residue doesn't fully rinse out. Over months of use, that residue builds up inside the drum, inside the rubber door seal, and inside the fabric itself, which is exactly why so many front-loader owners deal with a musty smell they can never quite get rid of, no matter how much detergent they run through the machine. The product category that replaced Borax in the household routine created the exact problem Borax was built to solve. That's not irony. That's what happens when you pull a residue-stripping mineral out of circulation and replace it with a chemical system that leaves residue behind. So here's how you actually use it, because a few details matter here. For a standard wash load, add half a cup directly into the drum before your clothes go in. For anything heavily soiled, work clothes, sports gear, gym bags, bump that up to a full cup. If you're dealing with odor that's already survived multiple wash cycles, dissolve the borax in hot water first, let the item soak for half an hour. Then run your normal cycle on top of that. It's fully safe for high-efficiency machines, doesn't produce excess suds, and leaves nothing behind once the cycle finishes. For maintaining a front loader specifically, run an empty cycle on hot water with half a cup of borax once a month. It clears the drum, the gasket, and the internal lines of the buildup that's been causing that smell you assumed was just how the machine was always going to be. A couple of honest caveats before you go buy a box. Borax performs best in hot water, generally above about 60 degrees Celsius. In cold water, both the pH shift and the hard water correction happen more slowly and less completely. It still works in cold cycles, just not at full strength. So if your household washes mostly cold, you'll get more out of it by running that monthly hot maintenance cycle or doing an occasional hot soak on your worst items. Second, keep it away from silk and wool. Those are protein-based fibers, and the same alkaline environment that breaks down stains and odor on cotton will also break down the protein structure in those fabrics over time. Stick to pH-neutral detergent for anything silk or wool. And finally, borax isn't food safe, so keep the box somewhere kids and pets can't get into it. In normal laundry use, it rinses completely out of the fabric, but the box itself shouldn't be sitting somewhere a toddler can reach it. What you're left with is a mineral that's been doing this job since long before the modern detergent industry existed, that costs a fraction of what's sitting in your cart right now, and that solves problems that most people have just quietly learned to live with. It didn't get phased out because something better came along. It got phased out because nobody could build a subscription model around a rock from the Mojave Desert. The box is still sitting on the bottom shelf at your store right now, exactly where it's been for decades, waiting for someone to actually pick it up. If this changed the way you'll shop for laundry supplies, send it to the person in your life still paying $20 for detergent that isn't doing half of what they think it's doing. I'll see you in the next one.